Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 3-day challenge, 3 easy ways to soothe the creative mind. The first day is today. We're going to be talking about hands. And then tomorrow we'll be talking about feet. And then on the third day, we'll be talking about the head and the neck. And then we'll put them all together and see how they all relate to each other. The hands and the feet are like tent posts, and we stretch ourselves across those tent posts to make ourselves calm and relaxed and peaceful. So the hands are often neglected as we do yoga exercises. We use our hands, but we don't always absolutely focus on just the hands. And as you know, the hands are made up of many layers. So we have the top layer would be the skin, and then the muscle and the bone and the nerves. And then at the deepest layer, we get into the kinds of things you'll see in the old palmistry, where there's all kinds of energetic and spiritual and astrological things that take place in the hands. So the hands are very sensitive perceivers. You can receive information from them, and you can give off information. You can receive blessings. You can bestow blessings. You often talk about healing hands. So these hands are something that we often take very much for granted. We use them all the time. So for an example, to think about how we use our hands, just extend your arms out to the side as though you're just widening out to the horizon, and then bring your arms back in and make the wrists touch each other. Out, and then back in, out, and then back in, out, and then back in, and then go. I'm giving and I'm receiving. I'm giving and I'm receiving. I'm giving and I'm receiving. So you see that as we make these movements, they really are muscular. Obviously, you need to be able to use your muscles to move your hands in this direction. But there's also a psychological and mental component to it. When we reach out, we feel like we're embracing the whole world, and then we bring everything back into ourselves, or we extend out, or we bring towards ourselves, or we push away. And with each of those moves, you probably felt a psychological shift, something mental and psychological, and that went along with the physiological. So that's the thing about hands. They have a lot of sensitivity and a lot of connection to our emotional and spiritual self. So today we're going to do some work that opens up the hands so that you can feel that they are the connectors and the receivers that they have the capacity to do. So one experiment to do is take a pencil or a pen or something like this, grab it in your hands, grab it really, 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 really tight, and now just let it go. Do that again. Grab it really, 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 really tight, and then let it go. And then just sit for a second. That feeling of letting go allows you to feel that you are letting go of more than just a pencil. You're letting go of thoughts that are bothering you. You're letting go of things that you don't want to have anymore. So these are the ways in which the hands can really affect our emotional sensibility and how we can use them to calm down. So probably everyone has heard of the mudras. The mudras are basically the ways in which you can use your fingers to create energy circuits in your hands. And this mudra, you've probably seen a million times, the index finger and the thumb come together, and you've seen them on, Buddhas or other yoga postures. And that's a common mudra. It's called the Gyan mudra or the Anjali mudra, which is one that you often do in yoga class. I surrender I acknowledge this, your spirit, the spirit in you, and you acknowledge the spirit in me. So these are ways in which we use our hands to gesture and to communicate with the world. So let's do some exercises today that will start to open up these hands and allow you to feel them more sensitively. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is before we get to that. So if you look at the palm of your hand, that you have your thumbs and you have your fingers, and right here you have what we call the notch at the bottom of your wrist. And you can just pick your right hand up and take your left hand and just massage with your index finger of your other hand this area, this connecting area between the thumb and the little finger and the middle finger. And you'll see that there creates almost a groove right there. Just try to massage that gently and see if you can feel that connection, that groove right there at the palm of your hand. So what we like to do is think that that is a string or somebody holding a string, and your fingers are all the balloons that are attached to this one string. So you can move them separately, but there's really just this one string at the notch in your palm. So when you're doing these exercises, what we want to do is connect the movement of the fingers, which it can move up and down, but you want it to feel as though it's moving from that notch. So here I am just moving my fingers, but here I am kind of trying to connect to that notch. So as you do these exercises, keep that point in mind. So the first exercise we're going to do is we'll take the right hand, and with each of the fingers, we're going to move the finger down towards the wrist. But we don't want to tip the hand or anything like that. Keep the hand straight up, keep the finger straight, keep the knuckle straight, and then just with your other hand, lightly push that finger down, but push it so that you feel it's being pushed from that notch. See if you can make the connection between the root of the finger, the tip of the finger, and that notch. Very gently and slowly bring it down. And then move your attention to the next finger and slowly move it down. Again, trying to connect to that notch. And then the ring finger, move it down very slowly, connecting to that notch. And then the pinky finger, slowly down, just gently pulling it down and trying to make that connection between the wrist. Because we're going to switch and go the other direction. So now we will make that finger come back and away, back and away, again from the root, back and away, and then back and away. And now we're going to do something that's a little bit trickier. We're going to do some scissors with our fingers. So with the left hand, you'll take the, you'll lower the index finger and the middle, or the pointer finger and the middle finger, and you'll just scissor them back and forth with each other. And then switch, so whatever was up is now down, and switch that and scissoring. Again, remembering to keep that notch of the wrist connected, and then switch it again. Okay, and now we're going to go back in the other direction, so let's start with the pinky finger going down, and we'll scissor it, and then scissor from the ring finger down and up. Now we've created another little scissors. Good. And then you're done with that. Now we're going to work with the thumb. So extend the thumb straight out. You can see that I have a little bit of hyperextension in my thumb, so I like to straighten it out a little bit. And then pushing down, you can either push down from the top, but don't allow it to bend. Push the top of that thumb down towards the back of your wrist. It won't come very far, but just allow it gently to come down. And as you do that, extend from, feel that you're feeling the little finger is stretching away from you as the thumb is stretching towards the back of your wrist. And then we'll bring that thumb towards the front of the wrist. And again, feel that you can get that long stretch across the palm of the hand, and you'll see it is, of course, going across this notch. So try to get that connection between the notch and the little finger. Very good. Okay, now extend that wrist. Take the fingers of your hand and push them towards you as you reach your wrist forward. But don't hyperextend, just try to reach that notch away from you as you pull the fingers towards you. Very, very gently, very mindfully pushing that wrist away from you and bringing the fingers a little bit more towards you. Okay, and then bring that back. And now what I'm going to do is I happen to have here a pumice stone, and you can do this with a pumice stone, or you can do it with a hand brush, a skin brush, or basically anything that's rough that you can use to create some stimulation on your hand. So I'm going to take this pumice stone and I'm going to just rub it on my hand, trying to connect to all the points in the fingers. If I was sort of painting my finger with this stone, pumice stone, and I'm going to rub it all over the front, the back, the sides. I like to get into this thumb notch here, and especially right here at this wrist point, at that notch. I'm going to rub it all around. Feels very great to get it all awoke and stimulated. Then maybe we're going to do the back of the wrist and the front of the wrist, and then this kind of area right here where the tendons go into the hand. All of that, I could just do this all day. It's very, very good feeling. Okay, and then we'll take our hands and we're going to grab hold of the outside of the fingers, not the top, but the outside, and massage all the way down the finger until you get to the tip of the point. And then when you get that tip of the point, just pull it and bring it off. And then massage all the way down the sides of the fingers until you get to the tip, and then pull it off. And then massage again all the way down to the tip. Squeeze the tip, and then pull it off. And then rub it down the side of the pinky finger all the way till you get to the nail, and then squeeze that nail really, really hard, and then pull it off. And now do the same thing with the thumb. Rub the sides, and I like to give a little extra to that side knuckle, at the root of the thumb, and then I'll make my way down the fingers until I get to the very tip, and then squeezing the tip of that, I pull it off. And then I'm going to just move my hands around in all different directions, really, really shake them up fast and move it. And then I'm just going to hold my hand up and see that incredibly tingly, warm sensation as it starts to pulse through my hand and through the wrist, and that wrist notch point opening up. Now just place your hand lightly on your knee and close your eyes and see if you can feel a difference between the left hand and the right hand. In my case, the left hand, or the hand I just did, sorry, that would be your, whatever hand you just did, I can feel, it almost feels 3 times the size. It's tingling and warm and just very much alive. So when you think about hands, you know, we always end up with a lot of trouble with hands sometimes. They get cold. In the winter, I sometimes have very poor circulation, so these kinds of exercises are good to stimulate the hands and bring the warmth back into them, especially in cold weather. And people get a lot of carpal tunnel issues, things that have to do with that connection between the tendons here and the rest of the hand. There are other issues of the hands, arthritis. A lot of people end up with a lot of arthritic joints in the hands. So these are all good ways, and your hands also become weaker. They don't pick up things as easily, and they don't, flex and go apart as easily as you might want them to. So these exercises are all really good for keeping those things active. So let's do the same thing on the other side. This time we'll take the, what other hand you didn't do. In my case, it was my right hand, which would have been your left hand. And we're going to take the finger and just gently pull it down towards that wrist. Just gently pulling it down. And then pull the next finger down very, very gently. Again, trying to keep that connection. And then if you want to, you can pull it all the way down. But I like to keep it flat and try to bring that connection so that I'm not disconnecting from that wrist. Same thing with the ring finger, pulling it down, trying to keep that wrist connection. And then the little finger, pulling it down. And then we'll do the same thing going back. So we push the index finger back away from us. Again, keeping that wrist connection. Next finger. Ring finger. And then the pinky finger. Now we're going to do those scissors. So we start with the index finger pointing down and scissor the index and the middle finger. And then the middle finger comes down and the middle finger and the ring finger pull apart from each other. Again, remembering to create that connection to that notch at the wrist. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the pinky finger and the ring finger. And then I'll switch and go the other direction. The ring finger down, the pinky finger down and the ring finger up. Work your way back across your fingers. And Trying to keep your shoulders down. I find my shoulders start to rise up, so I need to keep my shoulders down. And last one. Okay, now we're going to move to the thumb. So take the thumb and press first down that joint to create that straight connection with the thumb. And then take your finger to the very tip of the thumb and try to reach the tip of the thumb towards the front of your wrist. You can even start to move your wrist with it, but when I do that, I sort of hyperextend my thumb, so I kind of bring it back. So I'm not trying to overreach. I'm really just trying to get this connection between the thumb and the pinky finger and creating that line across the hand that connects here at this arch. So I'm pulling the thumb toward the front of my wrist and then back. And you can even move it back and forward, forward and back. So you can play around with this to see what kind of movement you feel is actually creating the best way to elongate and stretch that important thumb muscle. Okay, now we've gotten to this point, and we're going to take up our pumice stone again, whatever you have at hand, a brush, just your hands, or a washcloth, anything that's rough, anything that can just give you some stimulation. Move it all across your fingers, reaching as if you were just painting your whole fingers with some kind of paint, and you can see that all getting covered up with whatever you're using to create this stimulation. All on the top of my hands. I have to be a little more gentle there. The skin is softer. Up there on the pinky, on the top of the hands. I'm going to do it across my top of my wrist, come around to the bottom of the wrist, and then very gently stimulate that area between the tendon here and the bottom of the hand. Again, the palm, it's always great to open up the palm of the hand. Oh, I could just do this all day. This feels great. Okay, then from there, I'm going to do the fingertip squeezing, where I take my hand and on the sides of the finger, I work my way down until I get to the tip of the finger, and I squeeze the tip of the finger and then pull it off. And now I work my way down the sides of the finger until I get to the very tip of the finger and then pull it off. Again, working your way down the sides. Oops, slipped on that one. And then get to the tip and pull it off. Again, my shoulders are riding up, so I got to keep them down. Try to massage the sides, get to the tip of the finger, and then push that off. Now go to the root of the palm of the hand and massage it a little bit. Then take your hand and just swing it around fast as you can go, any direction. Just move it like this, all around. This is just fun. And then see if the palm of your hand isn't feeling a tingling sensation. You begin to feel that you can have some connection to allowing the energy of the head, the tension in the head, the tension in the neck to move down your arms and out your hands. And then you can receive information and bring it back in and bring it back circulating through the rest of your system. So this is why the mudras are really useful, because they are a way in which we can use our hands to connect these energies. And allow them to circulate better in our system. So let's try the Gyan Mudra. Take your index finger and your thumb together. Put your hand out. This is going to be below the camera, but rest your hands on your knees and just close your eyes and see if you cannot feel some circulation between both of the hands, your back, your chest, your neck. You start to feel that connection of your hands to the whole energy system of your body. And now we'll take our hands into Anjali Mudra. Namaste. And then, this is one of my favorite mudras. It's called Padma Mudra. It's the lotus mudra. So you're going to take your pinky finger and your thumb together and then bring that notch at the base of your wrist together. And it should now be very tuned in. And then reach your hands, spread your hands, open the lotus. The lotus is that what blooms in the muck. And close your eyes and feel that incredibly beautiful sensation of the lotus in your hands. Bring your hands back together again. Anjali Mudra. Namaste. I'm so glad you could join me today. Tomorrow we're going to do the same thing with the feet. So hope to see you tomorrow.